We live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to 3 Points of Light. Sorry, we're getting started a little late today because Mama D, Darlene, forgot to tell people that there was a time change. We sprang forward. So somebody still thought we were 5 hours away instead of 4 hours away. We won't say who. Brian. So we had to wait for Brian. I'm really, really sorry. It's all his fault.
Elders abroad. Criticism.
Yes, you are. Well, hello, Brian. Thanks for making it to the show. Oh my goodness. Hi, Jackie. Okay, I'm going to go really nuts today, isn't it? It's going to be one of those days. Hey. All right. I am Mama D Angel, Darlene. I am one of your hosts. We have Jennifer's Journey. Say hey, Jennifer.
Hello, everybody.
And the incomparable Brian-Clover. Say hey, Brian.
Good day, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful day.
Well, it's evening for us and morning for you, so we're gonna go to bed and you're gonna get moving. And our guest tonight, and now remember everybody, this is not a reading show, okay? But our guest tonight is Eric Glyn. Now, he said he's just a medium, but somebody had to title him. He had to give him a title. I'm going to write this title on it, like a 6 foot by 6 foot plaque. It was an international, spiritual, psychic, medium God. I just added God. Anyway, our guest tonight is Eric Glyn. Hey, Eric, thanks for coming on.
Well, good evening. Wait. Hold on. I'm actually going to come. I'm going to put my camera on because there you go.
Okay.
Right. There you go. I'm going to allow because. Right. Okay. Start share. That'll do. Okay.
Oh, look, he's got his purple plate.
Well, I got such a shock at the fact that the thing was an hour late of being here. All right, that I actually thought, well, you know, I've got a headache. So Darlene's always going on about how these purple plates are supposed to be really helpful in doing things. So I thought, I'll put the purple plate on, get rid of the headache. There you go.
Very
if you
good.
sat on it, it would make me go.
Was it just me, or did Brian switch the cam off? Anyway, that's fair enough. It's a way to get a purple plate to put on his head. He knows it works. Because he knows it works.
Anyway, tonight I asked Eric to come on because Eric and he's got a wealth of knowledge. Now, thank you, Goon Bird. He's been in, as I said, he has many, did I say many? Years of experience at being just a medium. But like I said, he's not just a medium. He's a teacher without teaching.
Lord.
You know, you have a question for Eric, you can ask him. He has my sound gone weird again?
Yes, Darlene.
Okay. So, Eric, you're going to talk. You're going to tell people what you're going to start. I'm going to log out and log back in, and I shall be right back. Hey, Donna.
Okay, no problem. The one thing I can do is talk, especially about myself. Never had any problem with that at all. People. I had somebody ring me up the other day because I'm going to do a show, and they said to me that I had described myself as a medium, and I said that's exactly what I am. I'm a medium, and they said, well, actually, everybody else has got like clairvoyant, medium, international clairvoyant, medium, medium teacher, all the rest of it, you know what I mean, to go with it. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, no, basically, medium. That's just me. And they said, but Like everybody's name badge is going to go international psychic medium, blah, 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 blah. And you're just going to go medium. And I said, yeah, that's basically it. That's all I need. And they said that people would book private readings on the strength of what they think that you had done. So if they think you're an international clairvoyant, medium, teacher, healer, all-round good fellow, leg break bowler or whatever it is, then at the end of the day, that they would think that that's a lot better than somebody who's just a medium. So Darlene asked me to come on tonight. Hello, Darlene. Asked me to come on tonight and say, what do we think about labels? What do we think about the fact that people need labels? They need these labels. They need to express themselves in a way that other people understand. And during the conversation we were having, I then discovered the fact that I was rambling on about other things that had happened to me in the past. And I was asked, would you not rather save that and say it tonight? So, hence the reason I'm here. Secondly, please forgive the fact that my voice sounds like a dirty telephone call. But I have had this operation on my chest, and it has left me a little bit breathless and a little bit hoarse.
Oh, and I thought you were breathless over me. Okay, there goes me.
All right, that's fair enough, yeah. And thirdly, the fact that Ray Bockhead described me the other day as a medium in an XL body. And I thought that was wonderful because I think that's just about sums me up. So there you go. That's me. Anything else you want to know? Anything else you'd like to talk about? Please feel free to do so. The whole idea of this show is not a reading show. It's a question and answer show. And I like to ask simple questions because, believe it or not, sitting in the room, there's bound to be somebody there who thinks, wow, what is the difference between standing on your head in a bucket of, and giving off a message? Can somebody tell me the difference,
Okay, I'll start this off with something you said, and it's sort of like, I kind of knew it, but I didn't know it. So where did the name medium come from? Because like you said, you haven't always, you lie like a rug.
I invented it one night when I came out the pub. No, it was actually the term medium wasn't around for the longest time, and it actually came around, and I think it was either 1927, somewhere around there. Anyway, I mean, it's so long ago. Brian will be the only one that remembers it. And the thing is that it was invented by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the gentleman who wrote Sherlock Holmes, among other things. And he was at a seance, and somebody asked him what the guy in the middle was doing. And he said, basically, he is the medium between the life after death and here on the earth. He is the middle person, the medium. And from then on, people thought, oh, that's a good idea, we'll use that. Because before that, you used to get called all kinds of things, and some of it you could actually put out on the radio, but it was all kinds of stuff that used to be called. So it became medium. And as soon as they said, oh, these guys are mediums, so Arthur Conan Doyle then went around debunking them.
Yes, but why was he able to debunk them so well?
He was able to debunk them because he was an absolutely wonderful medium himself. And his wife, bless her, who passed the spirit, was an empath. So the thing is that he was so good that he could tell when people were actually had linked the spirit and when they weren't, and when they didn't, he used to make sure that he debunked them and figured out how they were doing their tricks. I wasn't sure about this. And I thought, this all sounds a bit Hollywood. But I spoke to somebody in another place for a while, and her father actually used to go with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and debunk the mediums. So I know it's to be actually to be true. So that's where it came from, and that's where we used to do it.
Interesting.
See, little tidbits of information.
Say I'm full of all this rubbish. You think
It's not
you all out
rubbish.
there, you there in the chat room, you lot there in the chat room down there, you think I'm fat. I'm not fat. I've just got so too much information in my head, it seeped out and filled my body up.
We in the chat room do not think you're fat.
I rest my case.
Donna said something about you pole dancing. I missed that part.
Pole dancing, I'm not Polish. Listen, my role model is Homer Simpson. Yeah, there you go. Enough said.
Okay, Homer Simpson.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, no. Okay.
It's the right shape.
There you go. Okay, before they were mediums, you were called soothsayers and wizards.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else know names of what people were called before they were called mediums? If you'd like the class, put your hand up.
Never mind hand up, just get it typed in the chat room.
Exactly.
What people were called before they were called mediums.
Exactly. I'm trying to think. Soothsayers, wizards,
witches. Left, right, back, forward, yeah. Fair enough, yeah. Probably Donna, yeah, at some point would it be. Anybody got one? Either we've got a wonderful lag on here, we've got 4.5 minutes, or nobody's typing.
Nobody's typing. That or it's taking the long.
They
type like me, and it's like.
I like it, the spiritual churches. Well, back when they were around, they would call them seers, prophets.
That's it, prophets.
Mm. Oh, question, very, very, just while we're on the topic of this wonderful time where people used to get severely beaten up and then burnt. Does anybody know what the mediums would carry around that would get them burnt or beaten up or severely hurt?
What they would carry around that would cause them to get
yeah,
a crystal ball.
That's the one. So how did they get round it?
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, because obviously if you were walking around on the streets and you had your top hat on and you had your cloak on, Brian knows all about these because he's got them in his cupboard. And the thing is that you had all this gear, and you were walking around and you got challenged by the old peelers or the old Canadian Mounted Police or whatever it was. Then they would challenge you, and you couldn't have a crystal ball. So how did they get round this? How did they go and then do their show? So does anybody know the answer to that?
I know, but I'm going to wait and see if anybody else does. Come on.
Yeah. Donna's bound to know because she knows everything about mediums.
Ah. That's a good thing or a bad thing? I guess we'll find out. Come on, Donna, spill.
Yeah, anybody know how they used to get round that?
Rave, Jennifer, Brian.
Jennifer. Nope. What did they used to do? No.
Sods banished them to Scotland.
Yeah, that would do it, Donna. Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay.
Jackie. Okay. What? A cane? I think.
Cane handle. Nope.
Nope.
It was easier than that. Okay, I shall tell you because I'm full of all this useless rubbish. They used to read a glass of water.
Oh.
That's what they used to do. Instead of a crystal ball, they used to read a glass of water. And I do many different things, and one of the ones that I do is I teach people how to read a glass of water. And it actually works, and it works very, very well. Well done, Raven. I like that. I'm drinking water right now. There we are. You are being spiritual. And the thing is that, yeah, it's something that if you ever try it, please have a go at it. Okay. It has to be in an extremely clean glass. You know, if the glass has got like fingerprints on the side, like what Darlene's has, or or lipstick stains on around the rim, things like this, it'll reflect in the water, and then you can't do what you need to do. So it needs to be extremely clean. If you do wash the glass and you clean it, then hold it with a cloth or something and then bring it in and set it down on the table so it's lovely and clean. And then from then on, just use it as a crystal ball. And you will get some wonderful stuff coming off.
I'm going to have to try that. I should have actually brought a glass in. I didn't think about that. I could have done that. Would have been fun.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. You read a bottle of water. Exactly the same. You know?
Okay, so when you're looking at the glass, are you looking into the water or are you looking like that way?
You know what it is? It's your glass. You can look at it exactly where you want.
Okay, so there's no one particular way to do it, you know?
No, because basically it's a tool.
A tool.
Yeah, that's it, Brian. It's just a tool. And, alright, I might get my head bitten off here, and I do apologise if anybody in the chat room is, well, in fact, no, I don't apologise because I think it's right, but if you want to chastise me and tell me I'm wrong, then please do so. But the glass of water is exactly the same as tarot cards, angel cards, scrying, if runes, mediumship, anything else. It's exactly the same. It's a tool. That's all they are. And it doesn't matter whether you work with angel cards, whether you work with tarot, whether you work with runes, whether you work with pieces of paper, whether you're using a Ouija board, whether you're using anything. All as you are doing is you are working with spirit. You are using a technique to give you the meditative state you need to actually connect with spirit.
Diane in the chat room says, seeing as you don't like labels, would you say that it's spirit or even Teddy that brings people to you? Is another tool.
Yeah, it's spirit. It's spirit. Teddy is basically a tool. And he's going to club me for saying that. But the thing is, though, that he is basically my equivalent of a set of tarot cards. Teddy brings the spirit that wants to come. He will then line them up ready. He will then give them the analogies and symbols that I use to connect to the spirit side, and this person will then be able to communicate with me. I don't know how many people here have a second language. I know Darlene has. She's got bad language. And the thing is that I don't know how many people have a second language. But if you're doing a reading and you can say I'm lucky enough to be able to read in English, I can read in Geordie, I can read in bad language. So there's 3 to start with. I'm passable in a little bit of French, you know. I can, count to 10 in Italian. I can understand a little bit of Russian. But the thing is, though, that when I go on holiday and I go to Turkey, I can't speak Turkish. The only thing I know about Turkish is it comes wrapped in chocolate and it's delightful. But the thing is, though, that it's when I'm doing a reading, I hear the voice in English. Now, unless Teddy tells them that they have to talk to me in English, I'd be listening to gibberish. And, there's a lot of people in the chat room who work with spirit in different ways, shapes, or forms, and they must be able to communicate to people in different languages. In fact, I know a couple of people who do astral projection and astral travel and actually talk to alien life forms on different planets. And how would you be able to do that if you couldn't be able to have them told they need to communicate in the form that you can understand?
Okay, just in case anybody who doesn't know, Teddy is Eric's guide, spirit guide. Teddy's special. Raven says she always hears gibberish.
There you go. That must be your second language, Raven. Raven is fluent in gibberish. There you go. What can I say? But no, it's just one of them things that, as I say, back to. Yes, Donna, that's just.
Oh, Donna's picking on the Scottish today. It's a good thing Scots.
But Donna's allowed to. She lives in Scotland.
Okay.
But she actually comes from down this area of the woods in Geordie land. So
she moved to the other side of the tracks then, did she?
Yeah, she just hopped over the wall. Yeah, over Hadrian's wall. I'm hearing old English right now. Don't think so. Not if you listen to me, you know.
Hearing. Oh my goodness. Is that
Yeah.
OLE or OLD? That was the question.
Yeah. OLD, just the old one. That's what it is. So yes, that's basically my little take on what
On
happens.
the different ways. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, I know I'm not being mean about this, but you've been around for a while. You had an awesome lady to help. Shut up, Brian.
A lot longer
An
than you
awesome
think, I can
lady.
tell you.
Brian, I've been good
okay?
to you.
Okay.
I've been good to you. I really have. You know.
I appreciate it, Eric, believe me.
Yeah, that's okay. Go back to your tin can and a bit of string. Yes.
Okay. You had your your grandmother,
Yes, I did.
who was a very, very special lady.
Yeah, she licked windows as well.
It's just like her grandson does. And now, I don't want you to tell everything about her because I'm hoping to get you and Michael back on for another show to talk about your respective grandmothers. But tell everybody a little bit about your grandmother and your upbringing with her.
Right. My grandmother, bless her, is, and forever will be, the most powerful medium that I've ever met in my life. And I'm not saying that just because she was my grandmother and obviously I was a little bit biased. It was because she did things that other mediums would do one or two of these things. Gran used to do the whole thing. She knew a lot of famous mediums. Some of the real big ones like Doris Stokes and Gordon Higginson. My gran was on first name, let's sit down and have a cup of tea terms. The difference was they went around the world getting famous and making money, and my gran sat in the kitchen and couldn't care less about it. Now, my gran used to do mediumship. She'd do everything from pregnant women would come and sit at the kitchen table and she'd tell them if they're going to have a boy or a girl. She'd do, if pushed, she would do teacup readings. I can remember her doing them when I grew up. And then she used to run a spiritualist church where she'd do clairvoyance. And then she used to do what used to be called closed door sessions, which are the ones that you have to have people come in who are willing to come in and not just any members of the public to wander in which case you lock the door. So hence the closed door sessions. And she used to do levitation, and she used to do transmediumship, and she used to do ectoplasm. And all the stuff that mediums now go, oh, I wish I could do that. She could do all of that and have a 7-year-old grandson sitting at the back of the hall playing with coloured pencils and drawing things in books, which was me. And she did all that. And she was absolutely brilliant. And she was not phased in one iota that it was different or it was special. She was just an ordinary person. Now, away from the churches and back at home, spirit connection, spirit teaching, the ability to talk to people life after life was an everyday subject in our household. Because my grandmother, as I've just said, was a medium. My mother, let's bless her, before she passed to spirit when I was 7, she was a working medium in the churches around. I communicate and connect with spirit. My daughter is a better medium than me, although she's taken a hiatus of about 50 years or something at the moment, that she won't work with spirit, but she is a wonderful medium. My grandson, who is now 21, is becoming quite a decent little medium. My granddaughter, who is 8, has now started seeing imaginary friends. So, does it run in the family? Yes. When we get together, we sit around the kitchen table, nobody talks and everybody laughs. That's just the way it is. So,
I never used to understand that saying, but yeah, now I do.
Yeah,
that fills it in. Now, mediums today, as not all, but a majority of mediums. They do readings. They do. I've heard of channeling. But like you said, back in the day, your grandma and a lot of the other mediums did levitation. They did the ectoplasm thing, which to me, when you say ectoplasm, I still think of who you're going to call Ghostbusters, That's the only my thing.
Basically, all the white slabbery snot stuff that came out. Yeah, just do all that.
But why do you think that the things that your grandmother did, that mediums nowadays either don't do because they can't, or do you think maybe because they can do it but they're afraid to show it because there'll be more ridicule?
No.
What you're saying is true, but what you've got to realise is that there's no two people exactly alike. We have all got our own attributes, and it's how you progress through life. I mean, as you know with me, I mean, my particular little good thing, there's not many people around that can do it. And what do you do until you actually find out what you have got? I mean, I always used to think I was weird, really did, until somebody said to me, I know what you are, and they told me, and from there the world has straightened up. But people tend to let's put it this way, they deny themselves, as I did for many years, denied because nobody else can do it. You automatically think that you're wrong, and it's much the same with ectoplasms. It's much the same with even to me, to be quite honest, reading the spirit. I've never managed to get that. Never managed to hear a voice. Everything I get comes straight into me. Bang. So, but as I say, it's everybody is an individual. You've got to sort of work on your own thing and believe yourself. Thank you.
Yeah, I understand, Brian, and I agree with exactly what you said, because as Nellie used to teach me, when Nellie being my grandmother, what Nellie used to teach me was there was no wrong way of communicating with spirit, just different ways of getting it right. And that's so true. But the difference was that it was a different time when Nellie used to do all this stuff. It was a different time, and mediums were expected to be able to do this, because mediums used to do something which hardly ever you hear now. And Brian will understand that I'm not getting at his age now, because he'll actually understand the terminology. They used to sit for spirit. And they used to sit, I mean, as I was explaining to the other night, I can remember being to places where if you went to an open circle, you couldn't stand up and give off a message unless you'd sat in that circle for a year. I asked to go home occasionally, but they said you had to sit for a year. And then the thing is that once you had sat in this circle week after week for a year, then you were allowed to stand up and give off a message. But you weren't allowed to give off too much of a message, because basically if you wanted to train to progress towards heading towards the platform, then they thought 5 years was a pretty standard time for you to be sitting in an open circle, to be in a situation where you're getting through an awareness class. 5 years to get through an awareness class. And then you would be taken to a development class. And the development class is the one where you then start learning about the etiquette of working on the platform and the etiquette of giving a message and things like this. And you may have to do another 5 years in that before somebody would say, yeah, we think you're good enough to get on the platform. And then you'd have to do another couple of years working with a medium who had been around for a while, so that you could sort of understand what happened.
So like a mentor.
And that's the way that it used to progress. No, Diana didn't. I was lucky, because the fact is that with Nellie owning the church, or being the head of the church, she used to drag me up on the stage, on the platform at the age of 7, and go on and give a message. And the thing is that I was being taught 24/7. I was being taught in the churches. I was being taught at home. I was being taught what to do, what not to do. If I was linking spirit in the house, my grandmother would say, well, why did you give the message that way? That doesn't work. Try something different. And that used to go on all the time. And bless her, she prepared me to be able to work with spirit. And then basically I hit my teens and you became a teenager and threw the rest of it away.
God helping. Clonmel, London.
Yeah, I just went, don't want to do this anymore. And then went hunting around for trying to find something else, but never found anything that came close.
So when did you open back up?
I never shut down. I spent some time going to other churches. Like, as I say, my mother passed the spirit when I was the age of 7. Mm. And by the time I got to 13 and I was an angst teenager, I went off to have a look at some other things. So I used to go to places like Catholic churches. I've been thrown out of more Catholic churches than you've probably seen. And because the thing is that it is, and part of the thing that I like about spiritualism is they couldn't care less what religion you are. You see, couldn't care less. All spiritualist religions think, couldn't care less what religion you are. So yeah, I'd go to a Catholic church. As you may tell, my cat has now decided to join in. Well done. I used to go to the Catholic church and I used to wait till the man in the cloth had finished his sermon and everything. And at the end, when he'd say, I haven't seen you before, I'd say, yeah, I've got a question. Can you prove to me that my mum's in heaven? And then they used to go, oh, no, I'm sorry, son. You've got to have faith. And I'd say, no, screw faith. I want to know that my mum's in heaven. I want you to prove to me my mum's in heaven. Well, we can't do that. You have to take it on faith. And then when you pass over, you'll join her in heaven. I'd say, no, but I want you to prove it to me because my teachers told me that if I wanted to do anything, to scientifically prove it. You know, for the longest time, men used to think the earth sucked. And then they discovered gravity. You know, for the longest time, people thought the earth was flat and then they discovered it was round. I want you to prove to me that my mum's in heaven. And I used to get picked up and bodily thrown out the churches. Because week on week, in the spiritualist churches, they proved by the means of message, by the means of clairaudience and communication with life after life, that you prove the continuance of life after so-called death. So, that's the way that I took it to be, So.
What's happened to my screen?
The screen, we don't know, darling.
Be so mean now.
Shit.
So you finally came back to...
And you can't join in tonight, will we?
Oh, yes, strictly can. So you finally came back to the spiritualist church after searching through different churches or different places as to, to answer questions that you couldn't find answers to.
Mm-hmm. And then, so I came back and then I started thinking, well, if I can't top it, I may as well have a go for it. Mm-hmm. And by then, Nellie was in full flow, and she used to, drag me around everywhere she went. Mm-hmm. And like, some 14, 15-year-old kids used to get to go to football matches, and I used to get to go to different churches. And but it was a really good sort of thing to do with. She never forced me to go.
Okay.
She don't get me wrong. She never said to me, you have to come here. Mm-hmm. Sometimes she used to give me the key to the handcuffs so I could get away, but she would.
That's so bad.
You don't have to. Have I spoken to my mum and grandma only on a daily basis, Diane? When I work, when I do churches, when I do shows, when I do things like that, both my mum and my grandmother are there as part of my choir. Until I got Teddy, my grandmother was my biggest guide, and then she moved over to be the gatekeeper. And woe be help anybody who tries to force their way past her.
So, gatekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
Explain gatekeeper for me.
Gatekeeper is the person, one of your spirit guides, who is designated to keep you safe. It is the person who will allow a spirit through to talk to you or not. Now, when you hear of people getting bad spirits, sorry, thought was closing. Yep, that's a kitty that Eric's petting. If I can turn this down a bit, you might actually be able to see her. There she is. And that's Trixie, because if I don't pet Trixie, then she just goes mental and starts screaming and shouting. Your gatekeeper is the one that keeps you safe. A psychic bouncer, if you will.
Okay.
That's about the easiest way to put it. And they're the person that if a spirit comes along, they will say, yes, you're okay to speak to this person, or no, go away, they don't want to talk to you. And if you have faith in your gatekeeper, then you can have faith in the fact that nothing bad is going to happen to you when we're on the spirit.
It's something that happens to all of us, though, isn't it, Eric? To a certain extent. I find that people go on about heaven and hell. Well, to be quite honest, I've never found a hell yet. Everything to me is heaven. I wander around in my own sweet little Australian way, and I love every minute of it. I've got no complaints about life whatsoever. And I think this is how you perceive things as well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you in the fact that there's no such thing as hell. I think if anybody is particularly not nice when they're here on the earth plane, then by the time they go over, they go to the spirit hospital, and they're taught and they learn and they are healed to the point where they are capable of joining the spirit realm. So the idea of hell to me doesn't really happen. It doesn't matter. Yeah, which is good because of the life hard on it, you know what I mean? So,
well, you'd go down anyway, mate. So.
Yeah, that's it, you know what I mean. So, welcome back, Tommy.
Yeah, welcome back, man. You're still on mute, though. So.
Sorry.
And Brian, I thought you was going to do that. I was going to give it all the latest and see if she was going to do hand signals.
Oh, no.
I did some earlier to Brian.
But, mechanics one, as you know.
Hi, Corrine.
Hello, Corrine, how are you?
Diane said, I've come to the conclusion that we put ourselves in hell until we find heaven.
This is so true, Diana. You obviously never visited the northeast of England.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, you're all in hell until you come and visit heaven. Well, there you go, Diane. You say you know. Come to God's little acre.
And it's cold.
Yeah.
I'd sooner stay down in Australia, thanks.
Yeah, you're just a wuss, Brian. That's what it is.
This is true. This is very true. Now, as you say, there's so much more to spiritualism than people think. People always say, you've got either clairvoyant or you're clairaudient or all these clair businesses. There's so much more. If you imagine your sort of intuitive eye at the front, imagine that as being a band across your head. And because you've got your 5 clairs, so it means you've got, your 5 doors at the front. I think there's probably up to about 20, 30 different doors there, but people just haven't investigated them yet.
I was at a church tonight, Brian, and a medium called Sandy White was doing his philosophy, and he said there were 6 clairs. He says there were 6 distinct clairs, and he ran through the 5 that people most know, and he added on the end intuition. And I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was brilliant because the number of times people go, oh, I've had a bit deja vu. I was here before. Yes, you were. And guess what? Now you know it.
Yeah, intuition is the thing that I work on most of all. You know, the other ones, bits and pieces, you know, I don't really even come into, but intuition is my basic one that I do my things with. And you'd be surprised, once you start to hone it and really work on it, that intuitive gap gets wider and wider, and you can pick up so much more. And at times, I've actually read people, and I think our Darlene there will carry me through as right. Yeah. You can really get into people and pick it all up, you know, and that's where it all comes from, is intuition first. For me.
Oh, okay. Now, you know how I work. I jump back and forth. Okay. You said back in the day, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, he was a really good medium, and once he termed the word medium, he went around debunking said mediums. Okay? So he was that good that he could tell, you know, okay, well, she's just, you know, fishing. You know, she's not really connected to spirit. She's working. Or he doesn't really do what he's doing. There's, you know, he could tell. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can tell when people are lying to me, but.
Exactly.
But can you tell? I can't tell. Here's my thing. I cannot tell if, I mean, I know when I trust, and sometimes my trust gets abused, but I know that you have Teddy because you've proven it to me. Okay, because he's been in my house and he's told you about my messes and the way cars are parked in the front of my house and little things. But can you tell if you go to a church, and there's a new person up on the podium thingy? Now, I get it, they've been to the SNU and they've had to do all their testing, but can you tell if you go into a church that's not SNU approved, that Joe Blow that's up on the stage is handing everybody a ball of cookies or something?
Yes.
A crock.
Thank you. A crock full of crock.
Yes.
Okay. And would you call them on it?
Nope.
Okay. Why?
Oh.
Because basically,
somebody else.
Yeah, it's. I've been known to stand up in the middle of services and walk out of churches.
Okay.
The thing is that there's a lot of people who go to church for the experience of being there and the experience of seeing a medium. If this medium, this is going to sound really, really weird, but it's my own personal belief.
Mm.
If that person on the platform does a service, that service gives people closure, gives people the feeling that they've been connected with spirit, and it improves their well-being. I'm not here. But the thing is that if that person on the platform is ridiculing spirit, if they are ridiculing the person they are reading, if they are then trying to force that person, like, for example, I follow somebody around on the circuit quite a lot, and he will say, your grandmother hates you. And if you come to my shop and pay me $100, I will do a deep reading and we'll find out why. Now, basically, I told him if I was in the church and he did that again, I was going to take him outside and I was going to rearrange his face. You know, because basically that's wrong on every level. Now, that medium now doesn't do that. Not when I'm there. Okay. As far as I understand, he still does it when I'm not there, but he definitely looks out and sees in the congregation and finds out if I'm actually sitting there. But would I call him on that? Yes, but on a case of where a medium is fishing, where a medium is just maybe changing the words to the same thing and doing that, if people can't understand that, then I'm not there to highlight every single thing that goes on.
Okay.
I was waiting for somebody in the chat room to debunk me there, and they're not.
Okay.
Eric, because in all honesty, the amount of years you've been around it, it's going, people respect you because of that. So your word virtually becomes law.
No, I mean, I'm not law, or I'm not a case of, yes, I've been around a long time, but everything that I do, it's my own personal view.
Mm-hmm.
No wrong in connecting with spirit, just different ways of getting it right. Come on, folks, get that in your head. And I don't mind if people say to me, whether it be the 64, whether it's in, I said, I might debunk you for an example, remember, so, yeah, well, I'm at XXXL, do you want to have a go? The thing is that it's just a case of my view, and I've said something in a sermon once, in a philosophy once, and somebody said to me it should have been a sermon. That's where I was going with it. I said I was around in the 50s, very shortly, very shortly, when all mediums were gods. I was around in the 60s when mediums could do no wrong. I was around in the 70s when the mediums were devils, and anybody who spoke to people, mediums, would go to hell. I was around in the 80s when the press pilloried the mediums and you couldn't do anything. It was absolutely horrible. I was around in the 90s when John Edwards and James Van Pryor and all them came along, and suddenly people were thrown onto TV and Colin Fry. And then I was around in the noughties when everybody and their dog jumped onto it and you had 5-minute mediums turn up. And then everybody was given messages. And then we're into the teens now. So after the 2012 Nexus, then basically you've got people coming along now who reasonably know what they're talking about. So that's the progression I've been through. I've seen the good, I've seen the bad, and I've seen the indifferent. So it's not that I'm right, it's not that I'm wrong, that's just my own personal viewpoint, When people say to me, oh, I've been doing it for 14 years, and I keep going, oh, so you're an apprentice. And they look at you like you've just crawled out of a hole. And I go, well, no, and then eventually after a while it goes, how long have you been doing it? I go, I've been practicing for 53 years and one night I'm going to get it right. So that's it.
I want to be around when you get it right, okay?
Yeah. I've had one night when I was told basically really, really, really I was on fire. And that has sustained me for... Yeah. Colin Fry was a lovely man when he was doing his little readings. The trouble with Colin Fry was the fact that he became a celebrity. And bless him, I like Colin. But he became a celebrity. And he couldn't handle the notoriety. And that was the thing, all the pressure. But as a medium, he was great.
Do you think that celebrityism changes to people? Look at that look you're getting from Trixie. Do you think celebrityism changes people when they become, like there's Eric Glyn, he did it for his friends and his family and did it, and all of a sudden Hollywood came along and changed him. Do you think everybody gets changed?
Right, we have a medium in this country called Eric Glyn. Now I'll use Derek as an example because Derek has a two-sided camp. He has the pros and the cons. And I know that the people from the United Kingdom that's in there are going to go, oh my God, he's talking about Derek Glyn. Derek, bless him, was a fabulous medium. An absolute fabulous medium. And he worked churches, he worked theatres, he worked shows, everything else. No problem for years. And then at the same time as John Edwards and James Van Pryor came along came, I'm trying to think what it's called, where they're all screaming and running around and ghost, and trying to ghost hunt or whatever it is. And he was the guest medium on that. And he did some stuff on there that was, shall we just say, questionable. And then he went back to doing the circuit around the theatres. Well, by this time, he was well known on TV. And suddenly everybody was out to knock him. So, and here's the thing. I know for a fact that Derek Glyn when he is doing a show, asks for 10 tickets for people that he puts in the audience, right? And before everybody holds their hand up in horror, hang on. Derek Akora has these 10 people that he needs to know where they are in the audience. Now, Derek Akora works 5 nights a week, and people pay, they pay £45 to go and see him. So that's like $90 darling, and about 1,300 at Brian's, you know what I mean? And the thing is that they pay £45 to go and see Derek. Now, Derek can't have an off night, because when you've paid 45 quid to go and see somebody, you can't turn up, and if he's on for 10 minutes, go, listen lads, I'm having a real desperate night. I can't make connection. Thanks for coming. Off you go home. Either A, you get lynched by the audience, or B, you get lynched by the producers of the show, or C, by the people that run the theatre you're in, because they're going to have to give them their money back. Mm-hmm. So you can't do that. So what happens is Derek will go on stage, he does a couple of readings, then he starts to dry up. So he goes to a plant, and he says to this plant, and no matter what he says to this plant, the plant will say yes. And then people still think he's giving messages. And then when the messages start to flow again, he ends the one with the plant, he comes back to somebody else, and off he goes again. So it's a foil, it's a tool to be used. The press got hold of this, pillared him, or the guy got slated 7 ways from Christmas. And it's, fake Akora. Akora has plans. Akora doesn't talk to people from the other side. But what do? Do you say, I'm terribly sorry, like Colin Fry used to, bless him? He used to say, I'm terribly sorry, I can't get a link, I've got to go off. And he'd walk off for half an hour, and the audience would be sitting there going. Then he'd come back and go, right, I'm ready. He'd give a couple of messages, and then he'd go, sorry, the link's gone, and off he went. So you expect a night of mediumship, and you've had 4 messages. Okay. You could have gone to church and paid £1 for that. You know what I mean? So, which way do you do it? There's no way of being right or wrong.
So, Derek Akora, he's still a practicing medium?
Yeah, he's still there, and he's still booking theatres, and he's still filling them out, and he's still doing everything. And he's a real nice man, and he believes in spirit and what he does. But the British press, being the British press, they just slate everybody, Okay. I don't particularly like Psychic Sally Morgan, that does this stuff. That's not because I don't think she's a good medium, it's because of the fact that I can't stand her voice. It gets right up my nose. But the thing is, though, that I've met the lady, I've talked to the lady, and she seems genuine enough, so great, wonderful. Mm-hmm. But some of them get so far up their own backside, that they just don't understand what's going on. It's just crazy. But again, when a person drives up on stage, this guy's got, like, for example, Derek Akora has him, he's got his partner, his boyfriend, he has his house, he had to pay for, he's got his driver, he's got his stylist, he's got his makeup artist, then he's got his entourage to travel around with him, then he's got his booking clerk, and then he's got his agent. All these people have to be paid. This guy can't afford to have an off night. Easy as that.
I understand, and I see the wrong in it, but I also understand why. Because you need sometimes, just like you said, he needs to be able to take a deep breath, take a 5-minute break, go back and rejoin, and he can't do that when he's on stage. So he used his tools, his cards, his whatever, but they were people in the audience, which sort of pissed people off. Get it? But hey now, but why? Okay, I'm naive in many respects. I would be like, okay, the guy needs a 10-minute break. You pay $80-90 to go see this show, but not everybody in a show gets a reading, because there could be thousands of people in a show and they're not going to get a reading. So I don't get why people don't understand. Like, somebody needs a break. Take
I mean, if he wants to take a 10-minute break, that's not a problem. Mm-hmm. As long as he's done enough readings to pacify the people in the audience, then a 10-minute break, a 20-minute break isn't a bad thing. And everybody has to go and have a drink of water and sit and have their brow wiped and different things. That's fine. But the thing is, though, that any working medium up and down the list that's in the chat room will tell you that sometimes you may do half a message and your link to spirit disappears.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting there, you're sitting there with egg on your face, looking at the person on the other side of the table, thinking, shall we do pat the cake or shall it be round and round the garden like a teddy bear? Because basically, I haven't, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Now it's okay as a medium when you're doing a one-to-one reading to say, listen, I'm sorry, you ain't getting anything at all, you don't have to pay it, I'm sorry, I just can't do it. You cannot do that to 3,000 people in a theatre.
I guess.
So you have to be able to do something until you can get back on track. And as I say, I'm not praising the guy. I'm not debunking the guy. I'm not saying it's right. It's just a case of it's
just the way it is.
It's one of them things that when you get bigger, you've got more mouths to feed.
Very true. And then you have some that have very boisterous mouths to feed, like Trixie, but she ran away.
No, she's over there.
Well, we can't see her.
Let's say this one.
There she is.
There she is over there. There we are. See? We're there. That's it. So, yeah.
Does anybody in the chat room have questions?
That was the idea. Not a reading show, but feel free to ask questions. And nobody's asked nothing.
And I can't think of any more questions.
Really?
Because
questioned out.
Let me go talk to my bear.
First for Mama.
Do you eat jelly beans? No, jelly babies save lives.
Jelly babies save lives. Jelly beans don't. Jelly babies save lives.
Okay.
Yeah. But
is there any time that you would do animals see spirits, and if so, have you seen any of them as it happened?
Yes.
Oh yes, I can say yes too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, animals are very, very intuitive.
Yeah. Right.
For those who don't know, Jennifer has a dog, Casper, who will let her know when she has company.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
He's very
Trixie knows when people want to heal him. So yeah, I'll give you a story. Gigi, excuse me 1 second while I cough my lungs up. Okay, I'm back. Minus lungs. Myself and Teddy had been together for a while, and we were doing a open circle at a local church. And at the end of the open circle, there was a lady came in and said, I've got a couple of dogs in the car, and I'm trying to assimilate them or associate them with, people. Would it be okay if I fetched them in and just, let them wander around for a little while so that they, while you are sitting having a cup of tea, a cup of coffee? And everybody said, yeah, that's fine, that's no problem. Now, little background. Teddy, bless him, my guide, died at the age of died in 1932, at the age of 32 years of age, when he wrapped his car around a tree when he was as drunk as a skunk, and he killed him and his dog. Now, he's very, very disappointed that he killed the dog. He couldn't really give a damn about himself, but the dog he's upset about. So this lady said, I'm gonna fetch the dogs in, and away she went. She came back, and in came an extremely large Alsatian dog and a golden retriever. Now this golden retriever was like absolutely timid. It was tail between its legs. It came in nearly on its belly. Everything else, it was really, it was frightening. Teddy took one look at this animal and went, Jess! The dog stopped dead in its tracks. And its ears pricked up. And I went, what's the matter? And he went, that's Jess. That's my Jess. And I went, no, he says, that's my Jess. And I said, oh, okay. And he said, sat there, and then the dog sort of looked around, and it shot across to me across this room and sat in front of me, but looking up at my left-hand side where Teddy was. And its head just didn't move. It just sat there and it stared. And then the owner was going, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I says, "That's okay." She says, here, Jess, come here." The dog just wouldn't move. And Teddy's going, "That's my Jess." And he goes, and he said, "Tell her to get round." I said, "What?" He says, "You've got to see her. Jess, get round." I says, he says, no. So I just sat, I was sitting on the seat, I just went, "Jess, get round." And she shot round onto my right side and clamped herself to my leg in a seating position as if she was working with a gun. And he said, "Jess, down." And the dog went down. I never said anything. It just went, "Jess, get down. Jess, down." The dog went down. And you could see her staring up at where Teddy was with such love in her eyes, and her tail's doing 90 and everything. And then he went, "Jess, go see your mum." And she shot across the room and sat right in front of the lady that was there. And the lady broke into tears. No, that's fair enough. Never thought no more about it. Just left it. And then the dog kept looking around and he kept looking around. And he said, "No," he says, "I'm happy now. I know that she's safe and she's well." And the lady came over about 10 minutes later and the dog was by her side and the dog was just jumping around by this time. And she's saying, "You know something? If this hadn't worked tonight, I was taking that dog back to the pound tomorrow." She says, "That dog has not reacted to me in any way, shape or form." She says, "Yet you spoke to it once." And she says, "That dog completely changed." I didn't have a heart to say to her, "Well, actually it was Teddy."
Wow.
You know? It's okay now, I'll come back to that. And that was the whole thing. And the dog just knew. And Teddy, and there was things that were done, and this went on, as I say, it went on for a while. But it was just a case of the dog knew Teddy was there, Teddy knew the dog was there, and he recognised it in its earthly form. And ever since then, the lady's been back, and that dog's absolutely brilliant now. So,
wow.
And it wasn't down to me, it was down to Teddy. So do dogs see spirit? Oh, hell yeah.
Oh,
do
yeah.
dogs look after spirit? Oh, hell yeah. Do dogs understand that the people in spirit used to belong to them? Oh, hell yeah. And do I believe in the Rainbow Bridge? You better believe it.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
It's,
I had
Go ahead.
I had a guest on another show, and again in pet reincarnation, and that pets reincarnate to pets. People don't reincarnate and versa. And he had two pets that, and he was waiting for them to come back, and they did come back, both as cats. So yeah, see why if pets can't spirit, and because they know from, like, Teddy saw Jess saw Teddy, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. Eventually, Teddy will, not going to have a job with you, and he'll come back. Maybe Jess and him will be together. Okay. You were saying, Jennifer?
This is exactly why we've all, we have hundreds of orbs come through our house, and when we got our little Benji, he used to watch something going around the room, and it wasn't until Pauline actually snapped a photograph, and it was a huge orb, and he was literally following it around the room. So, I've always classified orbs as being spirits, and, going on from there, and, well, I've yet to be debunked on it.
Yeah, I do a lot of, I look at a lot of pictures, photography with spirit, and I see an awful lot of animals in those pictures, in the orbs and things. But we had Malteses. That was just had to have a little lap dog when he got sick, and so we got Maltese, and Peaches was his baby, and she was very spoiled. And a couple years after he died, I kept saying for 2 weeks, she was really spoiled and ornery. A lot of people didn't care for her too much. And I'd say, be nice to her because she's going to be crossing the Rainbow Bridge. And, oh, don't say that. How could, but something told me that she was going to be leaving soon. And I knew that Chesla was going to be there to get her. And lo and behold, it wasn't even 2 weeks. She started choking. There was nothing I could do to save her. And I stayed with her, but I actually witnessed him come in and actually lift that little baby up, and off she went with him. And it was, of course, I bawled my eyes out. And the next day, I happened to be outside, and I did take a picture, but there she was in the clouds. It was amazing. But she has came to visit me. I had a cat that, comes still to visit. The kids have seen her. But yes, I'm a true believer that our animals come back and visit us. They're always connected.
Yeah, there was a question put through the room by Nell.
No, she asked if she said, did Teddy pick you or did you pick Teddy? And why is Teddy with you or not someone else?
Okay.
Nobody finds him in the shower.
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously, Nell hasn't heard the story. God almighty. Right, okay. I'm going to everybody that's heard this story and got bored with it, please, you're allowed to leave and go make a cup of tea. But I'm going to recount the story for Nell. Teddy first appeared to me now about 8-9 years ago, I believe, and he appeared to me in the shower. I was in the shower with soap in my eyes and everywhere else doing my ablutions, and all of a sudden this male voice said, "Hi, my name's Teddy, I'm your new guide." Well, now, I asked Teddy to leave my shower, in a calm and measured manner. Basically, the second word was off, and you can imagine what the first one was. And the thing is that it was like, get out of my shower now. And Teddy, that was the very first time I ever heard Teddy laugh. And Teddy's got this raucous laugh where it just goes, oh, 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 oh. And I'm like, oh, for God's sake. And he was on the other side, and he went, "I'm here to be your new guide." And I'm saying, "Get out of my shower because I need to finish getting a shower." My wife's at the bottom of the stairs shouting, "Who are you talking to?" And I'm talking to my new guide. And she's going, "You've got a girl guide." And I'm going, "No, I'm talking to my new guide." So I'm thinking, this is getting to be seriously now. So by the time I sort of finished what I was doing in the shower and I managed to get around the curtain, here's this guy standing. Teddy's 6'4". He's got a handlebar mustache that comes around like this. He twists the end up. He's standing there with a smoking jacket on, not a jacket that was smoking, the old-fashioned smoking jacket, and a pair of +4s holding a golf club. And he's going, "I'm Teddy." And I went, really? And at this point, I still thought he was somebody who, that wanted a reading or something, or that he's turning up for something else. Yeah, I'm absolutely, as the witches would say, sky-clad. I was, as nature intended. And I'm like, oh my God. And Teddy's laughing his head off. I don't know if it was me being naked or the fact that he just disturbed me in the shower. So, anyway, my wife's been in and out of there since the rest of this has happened, but she's never managed to find anybody. So I sort of grouped myself and wrapped the towel around us and went in the bedroom, and he followed me in and he started rabbiting on about how he was my new guide and how he'd come to work with me and how he'd not been a nice man when he was here on the earth plane and how he wanted to make amends and things like this. And basically all as I wanted to do was get him out the hell of my bedroom, really. You know what I mean? I was thinking, this guy's an idiot. You know, this guy has two big, two sandwiches short of a picnic. It really was. So I'm thinking, this has got to be done. So I went downstairs, and when I got downstairs, my wife says, who are you talking to? And I said, I was talking to Teddy, my new guide. And she says, he's small and furry. I says, no, he's not a teddy bear. He's Teddy, my new guide. So I'm thinking, this is, so I'm thinking, this is no fun. And then he started chatting away in my ear. That was 8 years ago. He's damn well never shut up since. Now, apparently, Spirit thought that we were a good match because we both have this off-the-wall sense of humour. But the trouble with Teddy is, his is not just off the wall. It's not even in the same planet as anybody else. And Teddy thinks that working with Spirit shouldn't be doom and gloom. And it shouldn't be boring. So Teddy tries to do everything he can to liven it up. And this includes, Teddy has the most eclectic, different taste in clothes. Right? Now, Teddy decides that I could be doing a service in a church, and it's rolling along, but Teddy decides that it's not funny. So Teddy will turn up in a pink tutu. 6'4", handlebar moustache, pink tutu. Carmen Miranda outfits have been known to make an appearance. The village people in many ways, shapes or form have been known to make an appearance. I've seen him walking down the aisle, I've been seeing him walking down the aisle of the church, pulling a golf trolley in a mankini. I've seen him appear as a village people with a pair of, like the cowboy, and when he turns round, he had butler's chaps on. You can't unsee these things. You can't unsee these things, and I'm trying to do a serious thing here. You can't unsee them. And he knows exactly what he's doing. And it's not funny. It's not laughing. It'll just encourage him even more. But the thing is, though, this is what I have to put up with. So, did I choose Teddy? Not on this God's green earth. Did he come choose me? As far as I understand, yeah. Would I get rid of Teddy? Never. He makes my life complete, because basically, as soon as I start working with Spirit, I never know what's coming next. And that's great. It stops me from being bored. So there we go. That's
and I think that's awesome. I really do, because you know what? Some of these readings, it's doom and gloom, and I have funny spirit guides too. And some of the stuff that comes out, it's like, really, but so it does resonate with those you're giving the message to. But it makes it so much more fun. I mean, I love that. I mean, you and Teddy, just that you rock to me. I just think it's awesome that you guys are such a great team.
Has anybody else noticed it? And I'm talking basically to the people that know me, right? That before Teddy came along, right? Before Teddy came along, if you asked anybody who their guides were, they would say, "Oh, Running Bear, the Dalai Lama, 94,000 million people have got Archangel Michael, Raphael, I don't know, Dale Earnhardt Jr., somebody, you know what I mean? It's anybody that, it was some wonderful great, you know what I mean? All these people. And then all of a sudden, this fat bloke from England comes along and goes, "Oh yeah, I've got Teddy." I know somebody now whose guide is Fungus the Bogeyman. Right?
What?
Yeah, Fungus the Bogeyman. The kids' cartoon. She says, "A guide looks exactly like Fungus the Bogeyman." And I've got no reason to prove that it's not, because to her, that's what it looks like. But it's, oh, don't start him, Gigi, please, for God's sake. No. Yeah, no, because basically, it doesn't need any help. But now people have got more down-to-earth guides. And I keep thinking, is it just because I said I've got Teddy? And they now think that they don't have to have somebody who was famous or, you know. I mean, I know at least 4 people who have got Doris Stokes as their guide, right? Now, I was in the proud position of actually meeting now with Doris. And there's not one of them that can tell me Doris' secret. Not one. Yet they've all got Doris Stokes as their guide.
Okay.
Yet they can't tell me Doris Stokes' secret. And I'm not telling you like that, because otherwise I won't have a connection. But the thing is,
It'll get out there, yeah.
You know? So it's just, it's, but that's back to labels again. See how I brought it around for your show, darling? Right back to the start again. That's back to labels, because everybody had to have a famous guy. Yeah? It doesn't, you know, it's back again to the fact that, you know, if you've got the Dalai Lama and you've got, like, you know, Archangel Michael and things as your guide, obviously you're going to be better than the fat bloke in the corner. Well, Teddy. You know?
Well, I've had, something tells me my sound has gone wonky again, but I've had a reading from you and Teddy, as a few people in this chat room, and like I said, I don't have to be able to see Teddy, which I don't, and I don't have to be able to hear him. He's given me the proof through you of things that have happened that nobody knows what the outside of my house looks like. Because even if you Google my address, Google Map my address, it's like now as work, you know. So I can, for me, but life would be, your life would be so quiet. I'm not sure how Kath feels about having Teddy around all the time.
Kath would prefer to talk to Teddy than to talk to me. I mean, you know, we've been married for 40 years this year, and the thing is that we've talked till we're blue in the face, basically. But the thing is, though, she'd much rather talk to Teddy than to me, and frequently does at the breakfast table. She'll say, well, can I not just talk to Teddy? And then I do a bit of channeling, you know, comes Teddy, and they'll sit and have this wonderful conversation, of which I am a bystander, you know, but at least I get to eat my Frosties at the same time.
Darlene, you there?
We were all waiting for Darlene starting to talk.
Yeah. She's froze up.
Yeah. Well, you obviously heard Guide's Elsa from Frozen then. But it's no, it's the way it is. But never mind. That's me. That's Teddy. I mean, the first time Teddy ever said to me, "Can we try something new?" I just thought it went, "Uh-oh."
I can imagine.
And that's when he decided that he fancied going to visit people that I was doing readings for. Okay, and the very first person he did it for was Jodie Whitewolf, and the second person he did it for was Brian.
Oh.
And the thing is that that's when he was practicing. But the thing about Teddy practicing is the fact that he generally he then goes mental with it, and he wants to do it all the time.
Diane is asking, when does he leave you or doesn't he?
Oh, yes. Oh, don't be silly. Teddy goes any time there's a golf tournament on, or if there's a rugby match on. He's gone. He loves rugby. He loves golf. He's away. I've got to give him a shout if I start work. But the thing is, though, that if I'm not working, he doesn't do the old stalker bit, you know, and sit watching me go to the toilet or something like that. He actually just disappears. And I tend to say, right, I'm going to give him a shout. Because that way he comes to me. No, it's not, Diane, really it's not. The Bewitched show was funny, and it was nice, and it was ordered, and it was structured. None of which applied to Teddy. You know? I mean, he loves to be Teddy. And I said to him, just in case anybody was wondering, I said to him, well, I'm going to need some more proof. So Teddy gave me his name. He gave me where he used to live. He gave me his mother and father's name. He then gave me his sister's name. And he then gave me his granddaughter's name. And from that we found his great-granddaughter. And I actually rang his great-granddaughter. Now, if you can imagine opening a conversation with, hi, I've actually got your dead great-granddad standing beside me, and actually keeping her on the phone, that was something that was quite clever to do. So the thing is that I rang her, and I said who I was, and what I was ringing about. And luckily, the young lady actually does believe in spirit. And we had this conversation, and she then said, okay, fair enough. And I ran all this information past her, and she confirmed that it was accurate. Mm-hmm. She then said to me, she says, well, can you give me his full name? And I said, yes, it's Edward Jeffrey Montague. And she said, yes. I said, hang on, he's just corrected me. He said, and I've got to tell you, it's Edward Jeffrey Montague III. And she said,
wow,
that's him that's there then. She says, because only he would know that. She says, because that's the way it's written on his headstone. And she said, they never used that when he was here, apparently. They just used it after he was dead. That was the way that it was written on his headstone. So I said, yeah, there we go. I said, and by the way, he says his headstone needs to be cleared. It's getting a bit dirty. So she laughed, and she said, all right, I'll go and do it. And then she sent me photographs of Teddy and things like that. So, yeah, I have had it confirmed. And it's when people say, yeah, you know, mediums in there, you know, people to talk to and everything else. Guess what? You actually can have it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, do you still have contact with her at all?
I can ring her up if I need to, but the thing was that it was all verified and everything else, and she said, right, you need to give me a ring, but it's not somebody that, you know, she doesn't ring up and go, hey, listen, what does my great-granddad think about my new boyfriend?
Right.
So, you know, we just, you know, we'll send her a Christmas card, that's about it. So, but it's, you know, it served a purpose, and then that was the thing. So, yeah, and Teddy, he just loves to work. And I do the thing with the microwave readings, and that wasn't Teddy, that was Nellie who did that. What? Shut up.
The microwave readings, could you explain that to the people in the chat room? Because Darlene today, when she said microwave readings, I'm like, now that's a new one. I've never heard microwave readings.
Yeah, is that the one where you thought I'd stuck my head in the microwave and see
yeah.
if I could do it in 30 seconds?
I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, no, microwave readings is where it all started in the churches when I do. And, you know, I'm saying, you know, some people may know, when you go to a spiritualist church, there might be 30, 40 people there. And you go around and you give the readings, and about, if you're really lucky, maybe 8 people would get a reading. You know, and that would mean like that there's 32 people sat there with their finger up their backside and nothing to do. So the thing is, I thought, well, you know, let's do something different. Nellie was screaming about this microwave readings. So what happens is that about 20 minutes before I'm due to be finished, I usually get a very surreptitious, you know, signal from the person that's on the platform with me, usually kick on the back of the leg or something, and to tell us it's time. And then what I do is I go around the rest of the church for the people that haven't had a reading, and I do a 30-second reading of what's happening in their life at that moment in time, so they know that spirit is connected to them. And I can usually manage to get round like 30 people in about 15 minutes. It's usually about 30 seconds of reading, and I can just shoot round and do them. And it's becoming so second nature now that they line them up, and I'm remembering one reading, I'm being told another reading, and the next reading's already been lined up for me, and I just shoot round the church and just give everybody a reading that hasn't had a full one, So that way they go home and they think, well, there you go, I've been involved, you know.
Awesome. Right. Great.
So,
Well, you
Good
do
job,
know
you.
that when you're ready and Teddy's ready, that you guys can come back anytime and do a reading show, and we'll have everybody will want a microwave reading because that's what because nobody's ever heard of it before. I heard very first time I heard you do that was on Vicky's show on Paramania Radio. The first time I heard you, and then you did this microwave reading, and I was just like everybody else, microwave reading, what?
Yeah.
And it's just like you have a term for it, which I'm not gonna say it because it just kind of makes me go ooh, but it just shoots out. It's like like a rapper in a strip bar going.
I'll just tell them it's verbal diarrhea.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it just comes out like verbal diarrhea.
Yeah, Jackie had it right.
Darling, listen to Geordie. What comes out of his mouth 99.9% of the time is absolutely true. I mean, I've got a wife who's a Geordie, and believe me, there's no bullshit with her at all. So, believe him, I've known him for years.
Yeah, it just comes out. I just, yeah. No, it was just verbal diarrhea. It just comes out. You just can't stop it. And it's, but the thing is though that it's something that gives everybody the chance to be connected to that particular session that I'm doing. And that way, it tends to be, I was doing it at a church. In fact, it was a very local church to where I live, which is about a mile away. I was doing that, and a gentleman came at the end and said to me, he worked at Stansted Hall, which is Arthur Findlay College down in London, or just outside London. And he said to me, he said, I've worked there for a long time. He wasn't a teacher, he was a groundsman or something like that. But he got to go to most of the big sessions that have there. And he said, I've never ever seen that done before. Never. He says, I know of the fact that somebody did it many years ago, but he says they weren't as accurate as that. He says it was absolutely fabulous. And then he got in touch with Arthur Findlay College, and the people down there sent a letter up saying, would I like to go down and attend? And I said, yes, if you pay me expenses. And they said, oh, why aren't you going to come and do it? And I went, no. So basically, I'm not particularly. So if they want to pay us to go and do it, I will, but I'm not going to spend a fat fortune to go and prove what I can already do. But as I say, it's
prove it to anyone.
Yeah, I'm not bothered. You know what I mean? If they want to come and see it, then I'll where I am. And it's so it gets around that way. But the microwave messages all started in a church I do in Cramlington, and Nellie said to me, "Oh, let's do something different." And she started it completely differently to what I do now, because the very first time I did it, she said, "I want you to you can see everybody's guide. I want you to fetch all the guides up on the platform with you, and then I want you to take each of them guides and send them back to the person you got them from. Tell that person what the guide looks like, and tell them why the guide's connected to them." And I went, "You what?" I thought I'd come here to do some messages, and she's springing this one on me. I'm thinking, are you mad, woman? At this point, have you lost your mind and spirit? But anyway, we give it a shot, and we did it. And from that, and from then on, it escalated to where, rather than bring the people up, I would just go around and give everybody a little message that came from there. So that's how it started, and it grew from there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well,
I'm definitely going to try to read the water. While you were saying that, it's funny because back in 2012, there was some guy that he was, he kept telling everybody that he read water. And everybody's response was like, either go to hell, you're crazy, or, okay, whatever. And I was, I did not ask questions, but I wanted to. What do you mean you read water? How do you read water? And, but I know putting my hands in water, washing dishes, listening to my fountain, I know what water does for me. And a few days later, there was a, rainstorm, and there was a big puddle out front, and I looked in that puddle, and when I saw the Native American man looking back at me, I was like, okay, I guess I can read water because I know what I see, and I look away and look back, and he's still there looking at me. But I'm definitely going to try that reading the water.
Well, I did a reading for some ladies up in Embleton and Embleton's a small fishing hamlet. And I mean, it really is. It's one of these places, where if you drive very slowly through it, you can hear the sound.
Yeah.
If you roll the windows down, you can hear that sound. It's a sound of dang 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 dang. As you're driving through there, and it really starts to worry you. So I went through to the there to do a session, and I turned up at this house, and the only way it could be described is as a mansion. It had 5 bedrooms, it had a snooker room, it had a pool, it had everything. And I walked in, and this young lady was there of about maybe early 30s, and she went, oh, and she sort of looked me up and down, and she went, where's your cards? And I went, I actually don't use cards. I'm a medium. I use clairvoyance. Oh, the last one used crystals. I said, well, I don't really use crystals or cards. I'm clairvoyant. Oh, so you don't have like anything? And I thought, oh, this is starting off well. So I said, well, I tell you what I can do. And the lady went, what's that? I said, really. I tell you what. Have you got a glass of water? I'll do a water reading. At this point, she goes, oh, and she runs off and she gets a glass of water. And when she came back, I sent her away 3 times to get the glass clean. Seriously, I sent her away 3 times to get the glass clean. And she came back with a glass on a cloth, and holding the top on a cloth, and she put it down, and it was sparkling and it was clean. I said, right, every single one that comes in to get a reading needs to bring a glass of water. And she went, oh, really? I said, yeah, crystal glass, water. Doesn't matter if it's frosted glass, whatever, just glass water. It has to be clean, no fingerprints. Got to fetch in. I did this session. There was 7 of them. By the end of the night, she came back in. She went, that is the most fabulous session we've had. Oh, it's absolutely great. Here's your money. And I said to her, hang on, before I go. I said, everybody are they still here? And she went, apart from one. I says, oh, okay. I need everybody to come in the room if you don't mind. So she went away and she come back. And I said, like, I want to take a glass of water, and we can't leave the energy that's left in the water, and you need to drink the glass of water. And they all drank the glass of water, and then I picked the last one up, and I drank it, and I put it down, and I went, there we are. And she went, she said, that's the most wonderful session ever. Basically, it was the biggest heap of BS you've ever heard in your life, because all I was doing was reading them with the clairvoyance, the same as I was. But at the end of the day, I was a little bit thirsty, so the water did come in handy. And the number of people that's been on since then going, can you come and do a water reading session? And I'm like, no, not really. But, so there we go. That's water reading. So yeah, it's not what it is, it's what you think it is.
Right.
Sorry, Onyx is barking.
That's not a bark, that's a squeak. My cat makes no noise.
He's yelling at the cat.
Yeah.
Well, you've chatted for an hour and a half, and I thank you very much. We're going to cut this now because I'm sure you're tired, and it's 1:30 in the morning UK time.
No, it's only 12:30. Remember, we're an hour behind now.
Oh, an hour. Okay.
12:30.
Yeah,
okay.
You've lost an hour, so it's only 12. Look, 12:30 on the clock over there. Outside.
Over there.
That's right, yeah, over there. So, that's okay. So, thank you to everybody who's turned up tonight to listen to me waffle on.
Thank you so much, Eric.
I hope
I'm always love listening to you.
I hope that what I've said, a little bit of it has made sense, a little bit has made you smile, and a little bit has made you choke. And it had, and because basically if there's done all that, then mine and Teddy's job's done. But just remember, in two things, when dealing with spirit, first of all, be true to yourself. And the second rule, first Nellie's rule is always be honest when dealing with spirit. And spirit is the person who makes it happen. Nellie's rule number 2, if you ever think you're the star, reread rule number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for listening to me.
Thanks a million, Eric. You've done really, really wonderfully.
Eric, so much.
Well, thank you, Eric. You've just pushed this over the top. And again, anytime you and Teddy want to come back and do a reading show, you know that all you got to do is just say, hey, For everybody in my chat room, Jennifer Anonymous, Brian, Christy, hoo-hoo, lalu, Diane, Donna, good, no choice. Gigi, Jackie, Native Earth Lady, Kathy, Reverend Raven, and the ever abundant Supergirl, Supernatural, Purple Blaze Lady. Thank you all for participating.
Oh boy.
See, we have these children I have to deal with. We will have Rick Simpson of Riddle and if I'm correct. Shortly after this Sunday is our usual show. We will have Nathan as well. So everybody, I will make sure my mic is fixed. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll change this stupid headset. I love you all. I thank you very much. And
have a good night, everybody.